Hello and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will, where we provide international insight and perspective and levity on things such as leadership and mindset on Monday Mindset, travel and the travel business in Wanderlust Wednesday, and sports on Fanatic Friday. Here we are, Friday after Thanksgiving. Happy post-Thanksgiving, Nick.
Hello, Will. Hello, winners.
Yeah, that was good. I have to tell our winners real quick.
How about the turkey?
Always eat too much on Thanksgiving.
No, right?
Always eat too much. But please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win so you know when our episodes drop 3 times a week. You can expect them to be between 20 to 30 minutes in length. So you can plan your day, and you can find us on all major platforms and certainly on YouTube with the video. If you haven't checked out our video on YouTube, give it a check out sometime. We have some really cool animations and graphics. Would love to get your feedback, winners, on some of those things that are showing up on the video format. But if you're just listening to the podcast, we thank you for that as well. And certainly want to thank Dream Vacations and Nick Menard and Associates for sponsoring this episode. I was looking for my Black Friday special on Nick Menard and Associates, and I think our winners can get some, but there was nothing showing up for me.
No? No. You were not a good boy this year then.
I know, it was a one-way ticket. I was looking for a round trip.
No, but I can say it's Fanatic Friday, so we're not going to go in detail with that. But seriously, the 10 days between last Friday and next week Wednesday are the best day of the year for any kind of travel promotions, cruise and travel. I'm always very skeptical about Black Friday deal because usually, they bump the price the week before, so it looks like a big saving, but it's absolutely not. But when it comes to this, I know this industry very well, and some pricing that I saw are just insane, and people are jumping on opportunities even for 2026. So If you think about it, just give us a call.
Yeah, if you need some gift ideas, check out a travel, whether it's land, cruise. There's plenty out there. And speaking of which, I just have to digress a bit, so just bear with me. We just came back from a cruise. We'll talk about it more in another episode. But I have to say, between coming back from the cruise, and I'm still recovering on that one, met some fantastic people, but whenever you include a drink package, sweet goodness. And then Thanksgiving, where I just gorged myself. So winners,
Christmas is coming.
I'm here for you because I am not 100%, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else right now than talking about sports. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Go.
We have a big game Saturday. It involves some team, I don't know, they kind of got this weird orange. Oh yeah, it's kind of like looking like your hat, but so they're part of it.
Well, that's my hat.
That is your hat. That is your hat.
It's burnt orange. That's how it's called.
Burnt orange?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you got your little floating helmet behind you on there with the Texas Longhorn helmet. I'll give you the honors. This is your team. Big game. Talk to us about Texas and Texas A&M in College Station.
Oh, yeah. So tomorrow is the game. So it's very simple math. You win, you play Georgia in SEC championship. You lose, you don't play Georgia in SEC championship. If we lose, we're still in. So there's not a problem about the championship game. But as a first season in SEC, wouldn't that be like fantastic to be able to say that we won the first year in SEC when a lot of people were thinking that we were going to be, not realizing the difference between Big 12 and SEC. And I think we did pretty good. So very, very pleased with that. Now, College Station, for people who don't know, I would never been. It's probably one of the loudest stadium I ever been in my life, worldwide. So I've been to a lot of soccer stadium, UFC, basketball, baseball. College Station is probably the loudest. So it's gonna be interesting to for that game because it's so many implications and arch rivals as well. So
kind of renewing it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, they were part of the Big 12 long time ago, and then they moved to SEC first, and we lost the rivalry game pretty much. But there's clearly 8 between the two teams, the two college. I think that Texas, I know for Texas, number one rivalry is Oklahoma, and that's the way it is. And but the number two is definitely A&M. So it's gonna be a very, very interesting game. I think we are superior in the line of scrimmage, and I think eventually that's what should be the difference. But it's a rivalry game. It's at College Station, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, so 6:30 or their time. It's gonna be loud. So I cannot wait for this game. I will not pick up the phone if you call between the 7:30 and late at night, probably the day after. So, but yeah, my prediction is of course Texas winning, but it's really because of the line of scrimmage more, and we'll see what's gonna happen. It's gonna be, I think, for any football fan, it's gonna be a good game, even if you have nothing to really root for. It's gonna be a fantastic game.
Yeah, the key in my mind is how does Texas handle those first few drives in the first quarter, maybe even early second? Do they look rattled? Because you're right, College Station's going to be rocking. They're out for blood. It's renewed the rivalry. It could be a statement. They could be the spoiler that keeps Texas from getting into the SEC championship game. To your point, they'll still make the playoffs, but there is something to be said for saying, hey, first year we won it. Mm-hmm. And I know Texas A&M would love to knock them out from doing that. And I think usually in games like this, not always, of course, but usually in games like this where you got a rabid home crowd, good team, all that history, they come out hot, right? Because the adrenaline's going like crazy. If Texas can avoid a turnover, it doesn't even matter if they score. Just avoid a turnover, giving Texas A&M a short field. If they can get past the first quarter and a half without that, I think they have it. Because eventually what's going to happen is talent will win out. And you're right, the O-line and D-line superior for Texas. So it's just a matter of when you're on the road in a hostile environment, can you not beat yourself? Just don't make mistakes. And eventually the talent and the execution will win out.
Absolutely. So stay tuned. Winners tomorrow, 7:30 p.m.
What's your prediction on the score? I know you got the win for Texas.
I will go for 35-27.
Really? All right. So that's probably going to be an over. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're going over.
I'll go over.
No. Okay.
I think second half, like Texas, so we are rolling in second half, like you mentioned. Usually talents show up more in second half, and they are so hard to defend. Because we have the running back, we have the wide receivers who are insanely good, tight end, offensively, and then the O-line is amazing, of course. Otherwise, but so that's gonna be interesting.
It's interesting. Just to digress a little bit for a second, Oklahoma beats Alabama last week, which nobody really saw.
3 points.
And now you got Texas, lined up potentially to go to the SEC championship game, making a statement. Those two schools coming over to the SEC. I mean, I know Oklahoma didn't have as good a year as they hoped, but anytime you beat Alabama, that's nothing to,
I know.
frown about.
Absolutely. So other game that I know you looked at is Washington, Michigan versus Ohio State. So it's always
the game. That's what it's called.
So this year it's a little bit underwhelmed because of Michigan's roster and the year that they have. I don't believe it's gonna be a real game there. But as you mentioned already, it's a rivalry game, so we never know.
Rivalry games, you don't know. But I think I would feel a little better about Michigan pulling the upset if it was in the big house. They're not going in Ohio State and win. There is no way. There would have to be some sort of blizzard kind of muck up the game, so it neutralizes Ohio State's speed, where Michigan could win a 63 game. So unless there's a blizzard, they're getting smoked.
Yeah,
they're going to get smoked.
I think so too.
But there's a couple games I like real quick. I like the South Carolina-Clemson matchup. South Carolina having a year. They are having a year, and Clemson as well. I mean, they don't get the publicity like they did a few years ago, but they're 9-2. That's nothing to hang their head about. And the other one, so I have this take, and it's probably going to be wrong, but I think after Notre Dame beats USC, I think Lincoln Riley's out. I mean, they would be 6-6 with that talent at USC and being in the Big Ten.
Underwhelming Big Ten this year.
Yeah, is that like? I mean, no offense to Indiana, but when Indiana is like your second best team, you could argue against Penn State, but record-wise, second best. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, Indiana's a basketball school, and even there, they're not even doing that great lately. So I think Lincoln Riley's in trouble. What do you think? Think he gets another year?
I don't know exactly the buyout contract he has, but I know he signed like a 6 or 8 year contract 2 years ago. So I know USC, they have sponsorship enough.
Oh, they got money.
Yeah, they have money. But I think if he leaves, he's not going to leave for another team. He's leaving for the NFL.
Yeah, but his star is not going to be as bright. I don't know.
We'll see. I think he gets another year though, because at the beginning of the season, nobody ever thought of USC as being anything. So that's what's going to probably save him. His defense, he hired again. He's known. I mean, Oklahoma, he was awful in defense. So USC, the same thing. And he always tried to change his coaching staff, but without any results. So he's probably not the best, evaluator of coaching staff. That's what I think. Offensively, there's nothing to say. He's like solid. But you need more than that. He would be a good O-line in NFL, I think. A good offensive coordinator in the NFL.
That could be, yeah. He could maybe get that, but I don't see a head coaching. You got the Iron Bowl. That's always an entertaining game, even though Auburn's not as good as Alabama, but that usually plays out pretty well. And then I got to give a quick shout out for the Paul Bunyan Axe. Do you know what the Paul Bunyan Axe is for?
Yeah.
Wisconsin against the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Yeah, Wisconsin will win that game, I think.
I hope so. They've been having a schizophrenic year.
Minnesota have like very up and downs, but yeah, that's interesting. I never liked Minnesota. You never know what to expect with them. It's always a big question mark.
You talk about somebody living to the stereotype. So for our listeners, our winners, if you don't know, I was raised in Wisconsin, and there's certain stereotypes of Wisconsin. One of them is it's a heavily drinking state, probably to stay warm. Jeez. And here they had Jack Del Rio as a special assistant. He gets busted for DUI. So even if somebody just lived in Wisconsin for 2 months already, bam, busted DUI.
There's literally nothing else to do in that state.
That is not true. There is plenty to do. Don't you listen to Nick on that. All right, let's pivot real quick.
I just want to give one thing, one word for Notre Dame, the Irish. Can you imagine if they didn't lose that stupid game week 2 or week 3 against Northern Illinois or whatever it was, can you imagine they would have had the perfect season? But they always have that one game. But here, usually they lose 2-3 games. But here, the one game that they should have never even be in danger to lose. And then otherwise a perfect. They won in College Station, the first week. Yeah. So that was pretty impressive. And then they had some good wins. So keep an eye on them. Of course, they cannot get the first 4. Being
an independent.
Yeah. So they will have 5th at best. So if they win out, which they have only one game, they don't have a championship game. So they will probably be ranked 5th, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be interesting team to follow in the championship. They can be a surprise.
I agree. And the thing that really kind of gets me a bit, I was never a huge Brian Kelly fan, but I thought he was a good coach, right? So he goes to LSU. He's not exactly killing it over there. In fact, you could argue that they're underperforming given the talent pool they have. And to your point, here's Notre Dame almost putting together another undefeated season, perhaps, or close to it if they hadn't had that trip up against it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And Notre Dame, again, you think about them, you don't necessarily think athletic when you think Notre Dame, but they find a way to win, and you have to give the props to that coach coming in, stepping in, Brian Kelly. Yeah, he's done it. So yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because that's they deserve a shout out, I have to say. All right, so there's one game in the NBA you wanted to chat real quick just to get your take. It's a rematch between the Celtics and the Cavaliers on Sunday. Celtics, obviously defending champions. Cavaliers started the year 15-0. Their only blemish came against the Celtics It is in Cleveland where they're undefeated. Do you see a different result, or do you see more of the same where Celtics squeak out a win?
Well, it's regular season. So as we know in NBA, it's very easy to have a day off and nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know, they go home and they just have a smile and tomorrow is another day. It's not like an NFL when you lose a game, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland, who, by the way, what a season with a brand new coach. And that's what's the most surprising. Atkinson, I always liked him. You know, in Charlotte, then went to Brooklyn, then Golden State, and now here. I think that he's a fantastic coach and he knows how to lead young people and young teams. And here is a good mix of young and star power like Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell and Godling. Of course, the centers, you know, Allen Longhorns represented, and the kid from USC, Mobley.
Yeah.
So they're a fun team to watch as well, but I never thought that they would have a start like this. I mean, I think it's the fourth best start in the history of NBA, so it's pretty sick. And then the first 7 best start that I looked at this week, the 6 other team other than Cleveland went to the NBA Finals. Do I believe that Cleveland will go to the NBA Finals? No. But it's pretty impressive start because they play some strong teams as well, and they always prevail. And the only loss is against Boston while they were by 1.
Yeah.
So that was not like they got blown out.
Right.
So I believe that they will at home probably take a revenge there. But again, NBA, it's so hard to tell during the regular season.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a very fun game to watch, I'm pretty sure.
I think they really need to put their best effort to win this game because it's going to come down to those 2 teams and home court. And you know, if they lose to Boston, you know, they still have a few more games to play, but Boston probably then has the lead on getting the home court advantage, you know, depending how the rest of the regular season plays out, of course, wins and losses. But if I'm Cleveland, you don't want to have to go to Boston for game 7. You want to make sure that's in Cleveland, you know, and so I think they need to put their best foot forward. But I agree that a first-year coach, he's doing what needs to be done to get them off to a fast start. Bucks had a first-year coach last year who also had a fast start, and they fired him.
For Rivers. That's the worst part of it. Anyway, everybody knows my feeling
Giannis
about
and
it.
Dame is starting to figure it out a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot
NFL.
to the Money League, NFL. We also, you know, starting to get into that part of
7 game left, 8 game left.
well, in fantasy football now. Fantasy football starts.
There's 2-3 weeks left.
Yeah, the stretch on this. So, lots of intriguing matchups. Obviously, we just finished the Thursday slate, so we won't talk about that, but we will talk about what's looking ahead to the Sunday slate. I know there's a game later today with the Raiders and Chiefs. That's going to be a snooze fest.
I don't know.
Raiders are.
Well, the Chiefs won by 3 last week
I'm
against
not
Carolina.
impressed with the Chiefs, but the Raiders.
No,
just
they're
find a way
bad.
to
And they
lose.
just lost Minshew as well for the season with a collarbone, whatever.
Yeah, so they're going to throw out what's his face. But I did pick up Abdullah, and he got me like 13 points because he had a receiving touchdown last week. So that was good for the Raiders. That's about it. Because I had like 5 guys on my bench for fantasy, or 6 who had a bye week. So.
Oh, by the way, winners, looking ahead at next NFL seasons, we will add a section in our Fanatic Friday of fantasy football.
Yes.
Because I know some people requested it and said you should guys talk about the fantasy football part, and we will oblige and do that as well. So
Jaden Daniels almost pulled it out for me last week. I lost by 6 points. He had 30. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, so close. But I got Bupkis from, I had to pick up Slayton from the Giants as a wide receiver. He didn't even have a catch. I got 0
yeah,
points.
but Daniel scored 30. He probably scored 20 of those 30 the last 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was like, I might pull this out. No, not enough. But anyway, so neither of us had success last week with the upset picks. So you get to
we are upset pick special.
Oh, yeah, upset pick. Woo. So we still have our record so far in the year, which is going pretty well for some.
For you. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But you have honors because you had the honors the last week, and I think the week before we
Three
tied.
times or 4 times in a row we tied. You took the lead 7-0, 8-0 in the beginning, and then since then it's
charting
always
water.
tie.
Yeah. But so you will have the honors. You can pick first, and why don't you pick your first game and then maybe chat a little bit about it?
Yeah, no, we can do that. So my first pick will be Patriots against Colts.
All right. So the Colts are favored by 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing in New England, and you're saying Derek May and the Patriots come out winners.
Yeah, I think that I already mentioned a couple of times that I have something, I have a feeling that this quarterback May will be a quarterback for a long time at New England. I think they have their guy. I really like him. They struggle a lot the last few weeks because they cannot get their running game to go at all. But playing at home, freezing temperature maybe, against Indianapolis that I have not, I don't feel very highly. I don't think very highly of them. I like Richard Stone, but he's so inconsistent and he's prone to make mistakes. And I don't know how he's playing in the Colts. So I will use my first upset picks with New England beating the Colts Sunday in New England.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick that, but good luck to you.
Thank God, because you cannot pick it.
I think with the Patriots, the problem really with the Patriots is 2 things. They don't really have a consistent running attack, and they don't have really explosive wideouts, which hasn't been the case for a while for them. And I think, but to your point, if the weather's bad, and Richardson has definitely been inconsistent, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots win, but I'm glad you picked that game. I wouldn't have picked it, so that's good.
Hey, I'm the man of the people. Giving the
If
people
it wins, I will give
what
you,
they want.
If it wins, I will give you an added shout out for whatever it's worth online.
And you call me sir for a week.
No, I'm not going to go that. I'm not going to go that. Sir Nicholas. Let's see. I am torn. There's a couple that I really like.
You're probably going to take the one with a 0.5, plus 0.5. That's the one we'll pick.
No, I'm actually going to take the Steelers. The Cincinnati is favored by 3. They're playing at home. Steelers just keep finding a way to win. The thing that I do want to give a shout out to Burrow. So looking at his stats, 27 touchdowns, 4 picks, over 3,000 yards already throwing.
Yeah.
The problem with Cincinnati is not their offense.
Nope.
The problem is their defense. And when and Pittsburgh has a good defense, and their offense with Russell Wilson found the fountain of youth or whatever. I mean, he's playing good enough to get them enough points. I think Steelers, I really like. I wish I could pick the Bengals because I like Joe Burrow a lot and I like Jamar Chase, of course. But I just think the Steelers, they're one of those teams that for whatever reason, there's always a couple teams each year that come out of nowhere and just win, and they win close games, they win ugly games. Steeler is that team this year, so I'm picking the Steelers over the Bengals.
Good, I would not pick that one.
Yeah, there you go. So I'll see. So there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. So we have a few others here.
It's your turn again, so.
Oh, that's right. 2 in a row. Oh, good. Then I am going to pick the Falcons to beat the Chargers in Atlanta. The Falcons are my Jekyll and Hyde team this year. 1 week they look great. Next week, not so much. 1 week, Kirk Cousins throwing all over the field. Next week, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. But I will give the Falcons, they have to string together some wins because you got Tampa Bay starting to knock on the door. And the Chargers are fundamentally sound. They can travel. They play good defense. They have a running game, so that usually travels well. But it's indoors. And indoors, I'm going to give it to the Falcons, who have better skill players across the board, I believe, at running back, wide receiver, tight end. So I will go with the Falcons.
Okay, good. Yep. So for my second pick, I was hesitating between 2 different ones. But I'm gonna go with the Saints beating the Rams. So the Saints are the Rams are favored by 3 at the time of the recording. But since the change of the coaching staff, so they won 2 in a row. And the Rams, the last 2-3 weeks, they look nothing like they looked in the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's still early. They still can come back, but I don't believe they will anymore. So I'm going to go with the Saints beating the Rams at Caesar Dome.
Yeah, I think that's a good shot. For all the reasons you mentioned. The Rams, that's another team. Jekyll and Hyde. Look good, look bad, look good, look bad. Saints have been better since they fired the coach. I think you might be onto something there. I'm going to go, I know we don't have any other picks, so those are our official picks. And just so our winners know, again, we're not picking against the spread, picking money line. We're saying these are teams that are going to win outright, not cover the spread. But there's a couple of games I'm going to be watching really closely, and I wouldn't be shocked if I saw upsets with. Commanders and the Titans. The Commanders are kind of fluttering a bit. The Titans, every once in a while, they put together, a good game. But the other one is the Panthers.
Yeah, that's the one I was.
They're starting to find that spark, and don't look now, but the quarterback's actually playing halfway decent for them.
Young, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. And the Buccaneers, that's another schizophrenic team. One time they're good, one time they're not. And I think, so those would be the two. I was not pleased seeing the Texans lose at home to the Titans. Okay. So, even though they're playing the Jacksonville, I'm a little unsure about the Texans. Is this like the sophomore slump?
Is it the drop for sure? Because he missed on Collins a couple of times last week when he came back, and normally he didn't make those mistakes. So it's definitely a sophomore second year slump, I think.
Before we wrap, I want to get your thoughts on something real quick, because it really started picking up steam this past week. Saquon Barkley for MVP.
Wow. It's fair. So last week, the odds for him to win the MVP was 60-1, and this week is 6-1. Yeah. So of course, when you rush for 255 or something in one game, you will definitely get your eyes on. I think the only way for him to get the MVP will be for him to eclipse Adrian Peterson. MVP season in 2012, something like that.
So rush for over 2,000 yards?
Oh, rush for more than 2,097 yards.
Okay.
I think it's 2009. It was my favorite player. So when I moved to the US in 2013, I had my jersey. It was Minnesota Vikings jersey of Adrian Peterson. That's the first jersey I had.
A Sooner?
Huh?
An Oklahoma Sooner?
No.
He was a Sooner.
Sooner. But CD Lamb is also a Sooner.
Yeah.
No, I don't care when they move, But AP was my favorite player when I was in Belgium watching NFL. Even though I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but AP was always like a player I was look up to. And he had 2,097 yards, if I remember correctly. I think he need to get 2,100 yards to have a shot to win it. Otherwise, the way that Josh Allen's playing, I think that it's gonna go for him. It's gonna go to him. But if he eclipses 2,100, I would think that he would get it. It's just my take.
Yeah. Whenever you have a video game like Madden in season, create a move that only one player can do. When he did that backward leap.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So that's actually in the game now. They uploaded it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's the only player who can do it. So they developed the movement for him to do that, and they only empowered him to be able to do it. No other player in Madden can do that same move. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, Jason Kelce doing that move, that would be funny.
Well, Jason Kelce's move would be more like, shake it up, shake it up.
Oh, my God.
But anyways. So that will wrap up another edition of Fanatic Friday, and I think just in time before it got a little crazy. Like I said, it's been a week of recovery and gorging and imbibing and all sorts of good stuff. But Thank you, winners, listeners, for checking us out. Please make sure to subscribe, share, and follow. Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday. Enjoy the Black Friday shopping, get your deals, and looking forward to chatting with you on Monday for our next episode of the Monday Mindset.
Thank you, winners. Bye-bye.
Take care.